What's up, everybody? I'm Dustin. This is SERVi Homestead. I am changing gaskets and things on this carburetor for this pole saw that I'm fixing for someone, and I just wanted to talk about something. Yeah, so it just made me think about something. When I was younger, I did tinker with engines just a little bit, go-karts and stuff, and a lot of the things I did were not successful, but I did learn a lot. And my pawpaw was pretty knowledgeable in how engines worked. And two of my uncles on my mom's side are really handy guys too. So I learned some things, but I still didn't have a lot of the basics. And one of those things was reed valves. My dad likes to talk to people and gather information from everybody he sees, from the gas station pump to the hardware store. He just talks to people all the time, and sometimes he comes up with good information or makes a good contact with somebody who has some service or some item that he could use or I could use or one of my brothers or whatever. But people often said, "Oh, your chainsaw ain't running because of the reed valves. That's in the engine. That's kind of hard to do," or that kind of thing. And I always wondered, well, what in the world are they talking about? I'm thinking, near the piston somewhere inside, these reed valves, what is this? And then as I got older and learned more and read some books and watched videos and things and actually taught a little bit of high school small engine repair, I still didn't quite get an understanding of what people were talking about when they said reed valves in the engine. Well, they're talking about in the carburetor, and it's basically things like this. This little flapper, that's a reed valve. You wouldn't think of it as being called that, and it's not technically a reed because it's one big sheet. It's just a flap on a sheet. And it goes stiff after a while, especially with ethanol in the fuel these days. And it doesn't cover up its little tiny hole as it should. It's basically a one-way valve, so it allows things to go this way, but when it tries to go this way, it closes up on a little hole and stops it. So that's what people have talked about all these years. Oh, your reed valves are bad. They didn't know it was even in the carburetor probably, and even if they did know it was in the carburetor, they couldn't have told my dad or me how to fix it in the carburetor. They were just talking. Oh, by the by, my uncles never gave us the reed valve advice and then left us hanging. Just letting you guys know. They never did that. Okay, alright. My pawpaw either. That's really aggravating, even today, to this day, now that I know what this is, and I can take a small engine 2-cycle or 4-cycle carburetor completely apart and put it back together and get it running. It's so frustrating that people talk that way and don't know what they're saying. So I guess two things, and it's a temptation for all of us who are kind of jacks of all trades. Try not to say stuff if you're not really sure of it, or at least give a disclaimer. I'm not sure if this is the way it is, but this is what I've seen, or this is what I've heard, blah, blah, blah. But give that disclaimer. Say, I'm not positive or I'm not sure. Don't try to make it sound like fact when you're not really sure, because someone may take it to heart and go try this thing and you could be very wrong. Also, don't get into cahoots with someone who is not an expert, or don't take advice from someone who's not an expert. That philosophy is mentioned in the book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it talks about a guy who tried to go into, I think it was the sale of gems and stones and stuff with another guy, and neither of them knew a whole lot about stones, and they tried to start this little business endeavor together, and it didn't work out. I think they spent a lot of money on basically colorful glass or something, and the moral of the story was, don't venture into something unless you know some information about it, or don't go into business with someone who only knows half of what you're about to do. you know, find an expert. So I just wanted to share that because it can be aggravating when you have half information. So yeah, thanks for watching. I guess I don't do many rants, but I guess that's a rant. So hey, thanks for watching SERVi Homestead, y'all. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.